Your Majesties, my kings and queens, welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for always returning. Thank you so much for your show of love. Thank you so much for all that you do for this community to keep growing. Hope you're well in all your ways, Your Majesties, and you're loving yourself and others like always. All right, today we're going straight to the point. France has never actually used its own money to help Africa. And that would be like, for some persons who have always been hearing that Africa had nothing and France have always been helping, especially during this time where the Sahel countries are dinky dickety, kata kata with French government. Now, for majority of Western people, of white people, of French people, of other European countries, they've always been taught in their schools while growing up, because when you hear some of them talk, you ask yourself, what kind of history do these people learn? They always keep saying that, oh, when they see you as someone from Africa, they totally say, oh, you're running away from that hellhole that have nothing. All right, because the whole thing is, oh, we are the ones that have been helping Africa. We are the ones that have been giving aid to Africa. Now, the recent happenings, even in Niger, in Burkina Faso, in Guinea, in Mali, they are always coming out to say, we are cutting off aid from you. We are cutting off this from you. This will not come to you anymore. The money we always send will not come anymore, and the rest of them. Now, making the whole world believe that they have always been helping Africa. And the shameful thing is, I say it's shameful because personally it's shameful to me that a lot of Africans still believe this notion, still believe this Western view that without the West, Africa cannot survive. Where I get some Africans who come out to say, oh, since all these countries, since Niger could not control themselves, since Mali, since Burkina Faso, since Guinea could not control themselves, now the West will cut off the aid that they do send to them. Now let's see how they will survive without the West. No matter what has happened, Africans, we have to be grateful to the West. We have to be grateful to the French government, to the European government, who came to teach us this, who came to teach us that. A lot of other things that sometimes you ask yourself, why would an African open their mouth to say things like this? Anyway, you wouldn't blame them, because it is the programming that they have programmed almost all of us from schools. If not because people like us are deciding to say, no, we are pulling out of that programming. All right. Now you get people saying that. I'm going to leave you with something, then we're going to deliberate as we go.
Did you know France makes Africa pay for its own foreign aid by manipulating the West African franc? Based on a review of public financial reports, it appears France has never actually used its own money to help Africa. I'm about to discuss one of the most elaborate financial cons since the original Ponzi scheme, and no matter how bad you think this is, don't worry, it gets worse. First, the backstory. France controls the creation of money for 14 countries in Africa, a legacy of colonialism. We call this either the West or Central African franc, depending on the country. Every year, France prints between 20 and 40 billion euros worth of this African currency, which it uses to buy natural resources, influence African leaders, and occasionally provide some developmental aid. Pay attention. France prints the Africans' own paper currency and then exchanges the currency they just printed for physical goods and resources. You might be tempted to call this counterfeiting, but they already have a word for this in French. It's called seigneurage. Here's how the French have flown under the radar. France manages this African currency by pegging the West and Central African franc to the euro at a 6.55 to 1 exchange rate. This has made the African franc one of the most stable and predictable currencies in Africa today. You may even think at first glance that the West African franc is essentially a euro. Except it's not. When the European Central Bank expands the money supply, aka creates more euros, this gives the French central bank the authority to print more African francs. Now, over the past 10 years, the Euro M2 money supply has been increased between 60 and 66%, which means for every billion West African francs that were printed for Africa, the central bank in France was able to print over 600 million West African francs of their own, which means they can practically do whatever they want with that money. We can only estimate these financial numbers because the actual amount is a bit obfuscated by the French banks for obvious reasons. However, when we add up the M2 money supply for these 14 African countries and multiply it by the estimated expansion of the West African francs, France appears to be printing between 20 and 40 billion euros worth of African currency every year exclusively for their own use.
Is it true most of France's financial wealth right now is still built on
$500 billion a year
Wow.
from Africa?
from Africa.
Wow.
500. That's a lot
And
of
is
money.
it true that the deals are such that an African nation that has this deal with France cannot do business around the world with their natural resources without the first right of refusal with
First
France?
right of refusal is in
And they can
France's
still
hand.
tell them no.
They can still tell them no.
So if they've dug gold, coffee, cocoa,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
they go to France like, hey, you guys want this? And they say, nah. And they say, okay, we're going to sell it over here. France can still say, nah, you can't do that.
And all those nations still run on the French franc, which is also hilarious because even France has
Goes
the
on
euro.
the euro.
All right, Your Majesties. The truth is, the collective West, I mean the French, the Americans, the Europeans, all of them, you know them, the collective West actually have not and have never been doing favors to the continent of Africa. Yeah, it might be of a surprise to a lot of persons because when you think about this critically, you look into the whole thing happening critically, you just discover that they've just always been filling their pockets. They've never done any favors. They only come to take and then return just a little. So is it favor? You don't come to take my food and then give me just a spoon of it and say you do me a favor. Do you know how those food got to my possession? All right. Do the West know how gold, other mineral resources, uranium, silver, diamonds, all right, cobalt, and all the other ones you can think of, which I can't remember right now, do they know how those things got to the undergrounds of the African continent? Were they there when the creator was putting it there? Were they there? Did they liaise with the creator and say, okay, our creator, please put gold in Burkina Faso. Put uranium in Niger because in the future we will be coming to come and tap it from there. Put diamonds in whichever country. Put cobalt in Congo. All right. Put lithium in Nigeria. Put oil in Niger. Did they connive with that? Did they liars? Is it from their own permission that the creator put these things in the underground? No. And then they came. They felt they're so smart. And through the stupidity of the leaders that we have, I'm sorry to use that word, they came and stole and returned just a peanut. And then you coming to tell us that you're doing us favor, you're giving us aid. So I don't know why they're always making noise. We are going to cut the aid that we are giving to you, all these African countries that are becoming so stubborn. You don't revere us anymore. You don't respect us anymore. You know, gone are those days where whenever you talk about them, people are shaking. Oh, these white people are so helpful. Oh, they are missionaries. Oh, they are coming to do this. Oh, they are coming to do that. Gone are those days. A lot of Africans are woken right now, and they are beginning to see the West for who and what they really are. So all this noise they are making always, we're cutting aid, it doesn't shake people anymore. It was then that people would be scared because people never really knew. You know, there are lots of persons that even in the country where they are in the continents, there are resources that their countries even have. They are not even aware of it. Why? Because these things are not even taught to the children. They don't see it as a part of what they can add to the curriculum. They only want to add things that are useless. Who did this one? Who did that? A lot of the things that I even taught to our children in schools are things that a lot of them are not supposed to be taught to them. What am I speaking even? A lot of those things that they learn shouldn't be what they should learn. What they should learn are deprived. Because most of this curriculum itself, the West have interfered with it. They decide what we learn. They decide how we eat. They decide what we produce. They decide what we... Can you imagine the life that we are living? And then you tell me that people shouldn't agitate. You tell me that what is happening down the Sahel is not right. Because of what? I'm going to leave his name. If I haven't left it at first, you can check him out. Check his website as well. There are lots of informations that he have about the continent that might surprise you. Now, if you feel without you, the continent cannot survive, Mama Africa cannot survive, then go. Please go and allow us Yes, we don't have knowledge of what to do. Please let us be. Europe and America are not the only people that people can liaise with and help continent grow. There are other people that are willing to. In another video, we are going to see that as well. There are other continents that cable land can work with. There are other continents that are advanced in technology and everything that our cable land can work with. So if you feel you are doing so much favor to the continent and the continents are not appreciating you, please carry yourself, pack your baggages and your loads and go. You are not needed. So you respect yourself and leave. But because they know, they're just lying to us. We are the one helping you. We are the one giving you this. They know the truth. And the truth is, it is even Africa that is of help to the whole world. Because Africa is the mother. Al-Kebulan, the Garden of Eden. Al-Kebulan, the mother of mankind. We are the mother. So there's no way they can do without us. This is not, it's not pride. It's not just saying things for saying sake. For the past few weeks or the past few days, we have seen this. We saw this in the desperation of the French government and the American government as well, because America is involved. There are something they are doing, there are magumagu they are doing inside there. They are there. For the past few days, we have seen that you can't even do without us. So why are you shouting? What even shocked me more is people say they don't want you. Niger say you should go. And French was there busy planning with other people to go on airstrike. A poor country. You had the mind, Macron, you have the mind to even initiate the idea of airstriking Niger. Anyway, it never happened, but we are not ruling it out yet, because when we say these people don't have conscience, it's like people would think that we are just trying to sabotage people. A country that is as poor as Niger, you say it's the poorest country in the world. They told you to leave their country. They told you to let them be in peace, and you are willing. You conceived that idea to go and airstrike them. And you sit down there and you tell us that you know the creator more than us. We don't know God, so you brought God to us. And you have the mind that your God that you are serving did not tell you that you should not even conceive that. If not because the whole world, if not because they saw how united even the Sahel countries were, do you think the French government will not go on with their threat? They even went on with it. Since they didn't go on with the air one, they went on with the spies, the puppets they keep planting around. They use those puppets to even take the life of some persons, some Nigerians, some Niger soldiers. And you tell me these are people that we should work with. People that don't even play fair. All right? And that's why even the continent is pulling out of you, because you are not fair in all that you do. You think you are so smart and nobody will catch up with you. Nobody will be a fool forever. There's nobody you tie down and keep, and the person will be a fool forever. There's a way you tie somebody, even hands and leg, and keep the person. How you just give the person time. The person will just initiate a plan on how to even cut out the rope without a knife, without a razor. The person will cut the rope and leave. Everything is time. Everything is time, and it's time now. The Africans have seen that you are not good for us. So stay in peace where you are. Anyway, Your Majesties, leave your comments on the section, and I'll see you in my next one. Until then, love yourself, love others, stay safe, stay positive. Always Your Majesties. Bye for now.